Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hopefully you're all having a great day. Today we're going to recap a trip that my dad and I took to Charlotte Motor Speedway from a few weeks back. There's a lot of really cool race footage and interesting things throughout this video, so I hope you'll stick around and enjoy it. But as you can see, we're driving through the tunnel here in West Virginia down to Virginia. We started our trip in Ohio. We drove about, I think it was 9.5 hours or so to get from Ohio down to North Carolina. And overall, it was a fun experience. I mean, we had plenty of fun. The first thing that we did when we got to North Carolina was we drove to a place called Raceday Authentics. And as you can see here, they have tons of body panel and sheet metal and just whatever piece of the car that is on the outside that you could possibly want. There were many, many more rooms than the one video that I took here. And if you guys ever have a chance, go check them out. They had a lot of cool stuff. You can look their stuff up online as well. And I bought a Ryan Sieg door panel from his Watkins Glen race from last year where I met the team. More on that later. After we were done at Raceday Authentics, we took an hour-ish drive over to Charlotte to the Concord Mills Mall because Lionel Racing was hosting a diecast and donuts day. And unfortunately, Raja Karuth was supposed to be there, but he had to cancel, as many drivers did. I'm sure you guys are all well aware that Kyle Busch had passed away at this point, and so he was not there. We also got to go eat at Jim and Nick's barbecue, and brisket on mac and cheese is a great thing. But anyway, we finally woke up the next day, went to the track early to get our credentials, and we started going, and it was honestly a fun time aside from the rain. Oh, one thing I did want to mention about the Lionel event is I won a car and then sold a car and then bought a pair of shoes at the mall. So that was kind of funny. But yes, Charlotte did many tributes to Kyle Busch, and it was a very kind of, I don't want to say somber day, but it was a heavy day. You could definitely feel in the garage just kind of the weight of the absence of Kyle and the news that had broke just a few days earlier. So yeah, it was definitely, you could definitely cut the tension with a knife, and it was unfortunate, but I got this very unflattering picture of Jeff Burton, which was interesting. Shook his hand, very nice. He said hi. It was nice of him. But we went through the Cup Garage. We really weren't supposed to be there, but our friend Suzy from RSS, she took us on a little tour where we weren't supposed to go. But after that, we ended up hanging out pretty much the rest of the day in the O'Reilly Garage until things really got started from the teams. We got to hang out with the Viking Motorsports guys. We got to hang out with the RSS guys and see everybody. And it was kind of funny because, and I'm not going to play this whole thing, but I recorded this entire 5-minute video of Parker Retzlaff, and yeah, it was funny to see the behind the scenes stuff. I really enjoy that, and getting to hang out with the teams, the crew members. Here you can see Robert holding the signed body panel with all of the team members that we met in Watkins Glen last year. Oh, and one thing I did want to mention is the rain. It kept changing the schedule every single, it seemed like hour. And so the track was dry, then it was wet, then they were drying it, and then it would get wet again. And it was just a really eerie kind of day. The overcast skies, the constant mist/rain. Ooh, victory lane. More on that later. Oh, by the way, I was trying to take this very cinematic video for you guys. You know, I'm trying to do this whole YouTube thing and make it really good, a viewing experience that you guys would enjoy, and then you get these two yahoos playing on their phones. But anyway, yes, Kyle Busch's number was at the top of the podium for most of the day as no racing, no on-track activity was going on. So it was many tributes for Kyle, which is to be expected from the NASCAR community. It's such a big family that it's hard to put into words until you're kind of there and experience it firsthand. But yeah, they did a really good job of honoring Kyle. And even in the motor racing outreach church service we went to, they talked about Kyle and his family as well. So it was a very good honoring from that aspect. But once the church service was over, actually before the church service was over, Cup practice had started up, so we could hear the cars very, very loudly inside the little meeting room, and it was packed. Actually, there were a ton of people in there, a few drivers, crew members, family members, and stuff like that. So a very good thing that Motor Racing Outreach does and puts on each race weekend. And we were watching practice from pit road, and I saw this guy walking in front of me. It turns out it was Chad Knaus, so that was kind of fun. Got a nice video of the back of Chad Knaus. Rudy Fugle was there with William Byron. I got that for his father-in-law that I'm friends with. It's a long story. Maybe one day we'll get into it. I think I talked about it in the Watkins Glen video last year, but yeah, so I texted him pictures of Rudy Fugle doing work, William Byron. Practice was loud, it was fun. Everyone was just kind of hanging out. Overall, it was a good time. Oh, and you know what? Actually, the best thing about practice was our boy Ross Chastain. I was able to get him to sign my gold car that he won the Charlotte race, the 600 last year with. He was super nice and very accommodating to anybody that approached him. Same thing with Raja Karuth. By the way, Raja Karuth, not named after Raja the tiger in Aladdin. I did ask him, and he said no, that's not what he was named after. So kind of a funny thing. But yeah, we were on pit road hanging out with the teams, the drivers. Again, you saw the tribute decals on the cars as they were expedited and placed on the cars in quick time, which is not surprising because NASCAR has the ability and the good people in NASCAR to do things like that. But as the pre-race festivities got underway for the O'Reilly race, we were just kind of chilling, hanging out by the cars, and it was funny because this one dad and his two kids were like on the other side of the pit wall, and they weren't too sure if they could go over, and I was wearing my Viking Motorsports hat, and I'm like, oh yeah, you can just jump over the wall and go get your picture with the car, I don't care. And so he took that as like, okay, we could do that. So, and then I went and took a picture with them. So it was kind of funny because, like, I don't know, probably couldn't get in trouble for that, but it is what it is. And actually, you know what? Let's just listen to the race cars. Let's listen to these guys, mat it and go green, because it's a great sound. So after the rains came the first time, we saw Parker Retzlaff grabbing some chicken dinner. By the way, we had that chicken and it was pretty solid. It was pretty good. And the fries, they had some spice on it. I don't know what it was, but it was good. We waited about 3 hours for the rain to finally pass, and then they dried the track, but it was still really eerie. The fog had set in, and where we were standing on pit road, my dad took this video from inside the infield from a bridge. But where we were standing on pit road, we were listening to the teams talk, and the spotters could barely see the cars on the backstretch at one point. So they were like, we're not sure if we're going to even race this thing or call it or what. And I do want to say the guys at RSS, very accommodating. We got to hang out with them on top of the pit box, and they were super grateful that we were there and talking to them under caution. So it was a fun time with them. And oh yes, our boy Ross, he took home the checkered flag. Let's check out his burnout. Yeah, right. The way that the race ended was total BS, by the way. They just ran a ton of laps under caution until they could get to the end of the stage and then called it. It was, I don't know, it was a long day and everybody was just ready to get the heck out of there. Oh, and remember that thing I said about Victory Lane? Well, I wasn't technically in Victory Lane, but I was right behind it and I was able to get my hands through the bars so that we could get a very clear video, except for this guy walking in front of me, but a very clear video of Ross celebrating in Victory Lane with his team and with the fans. So again, it was really cool to see all the behind the scenes stuff, the stuff that you don't really see on TV. And I don't know, that's just what makes that any weekend that much more fun for me personally, is the behind the scenes stuff. Yeah, I've been watching NASCAR for like 20 plus years and see it all on TV, but it's this stuff that is a lot cooler. Huge props to Ross for taking a bow for Kyle and then holding up his 8 for him as well. That was super classy by Ross. And of course he had to smash his watermelon because he's the Mad Melon, you know. I did pre-order this car from Lionel, so whenever it gets here, I will be trying to find him at some point in the future to get him to autograph it. I'm getting kind of annoying with hunting him down and getting autographs from him. Oh, and then moving on to Sunday, we wanted to watch the IndyCar race. We went to Dave & Buster's. We didn't really get to watch it because we had to get our tickets from our friends, Rudy Fugel's father-in-law, who ended up not even going to the race. So his son went and we met up with him and got our tickets from them and hung out with those guys while we were at the race. And it was really cool because they had paratroopers, and obviously with Memorial Day, they do a lot of military tributes and everything. But this might have been the coolest one that I've personally seen at a race myself. Oh, and they took those guys out of the track on these lines. It was crazy, crazy heights. Props to them for doing that. The Memorial Day race is just so cool, and just to kind of close the book on the tributes they did for Kyle this weekend, aside from holding up 8 fingers on lap 8, was the missing man formation that they paced under, and it was just so sad just thinking about Kyle, and they gave a great speech about him. I think it was Steve O'Donnell before the race, and honestly, it was just heartbreaking, and you can't help but feel for the family. So yeah, if you want to say a prayer for Samantha and the kids, I mean, by all means, I'm sure it's very much appreciated. But anyway, as Kyle would want, let's go racing. And honestly, as races go, it was a pretty solid one. It was mostly Toyota dominated, which wasn't that interesting for me personally. Also, Byron didn't really show up, Ross crashed. So, as far as the race itself went, it was honestly, it was a little disappointing for me personally as a fan, but from a fan watching on TV at home, it was probably very entertaining, and I hope that the broadcast covered it well because it seemed like it was multi-groove and tire fall off was a thing. So as far as the racing itself goes, I think it was probably overall a pretty positive experience. Granted, at the end of the day, they were not able to complete the entirety of the race because the rains came back, and it was interesting because Daniel Suarez had to fend off a few late race restarts. And honestly, by the way, the lightning that struck, we were seeing lightning flashes, and they were like, nah, we're going to race anyway. So I'm not really sure what the rule is on that. I thought it was within 8 miles of a venue you have to halt for 30 minutes, but we were seeing lightning. I'm pretty sure it was closer than 8 miles, and they kept racing. So it was a fun experience. I had a ton of fun with my dad. We enjoyed a lot of really cool behind the scenes stuff. We got to experience a lot of really different aspects of a race weekend, and it was also funny because I saw some younger fans in the stands, and they so much reminded me of myself when I was a kid or even a teenager watching the cars on track. I would count the intervals, I would count the cars, I would be standing up every lap trying to see where Jeff Gordon would be, and it was just funny to kind of see that transition into the next generation. So I know I'm not that old, but it's something cool that I noticed. But yeah, overall, Daniel Suarez getting the victory was pretty neat. I know he raced for Kyle in the Truck Series, and so that meant a lot to him, and he was pretty emotional about it, which was really touching. And then, of course, yeah, just overall, it was a great weekend, unfortunately hampered by a ton of not so good weather. And oh yeah, and I wanted to show you this on our drive home going through the mountains. It looked like Jurassic Park, honestly, but super, super foggy. So I hope you guys stayed to the end of this video. It's a longer one. It's about 20 minutes. So yeah, something a little bit different. I wanted to really talk about the race weekend as a whole and try and give you my perspective from what we saw, not only in the garage, but in the stands and the different things that we were able to do. So huge shout out to my dad, huge shout out to Ryan Sieg Racing, to Viking Motorsports, and everybody that made this weekend possible for us. Oh, and Lionel as well. So all the people that have helped us get to where we are have been awesome. Thank you guys for watching this video, you included. Keep on collecting. Bye, everyone.